It feels like a long wait since the last time we went racing in GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS Sprint Cup. It was back at the start of May at Brands Hatch, but we're ready to go in the sunshine here at Misano by the Adriatic coast. Qualifying is coming up. Yesterday we had the 2 free practice sessions, one of which was topped, believe it or not, by Audi. Christopher Haase was fastest in the second session, and we'll see how that car goes today. But this circuit always delivers good racing. It's very, very hot indeed. Nearly 51 degrees track temperature. Very humid day as well. 64 degrees humidity. And it has been swelteringly hot, even from about 20 past 7 this morning. David Addison and Joe Osborne in the air conditioning for a change. It is hellishly hot outside. Teams, drivers, tyres are all going to be suffering. But this first session then, just 10 minutes long, is going to be fascinating because, Joe, as we keep saying in this championship, you cannot afford to throw away a lap through any error at all.
No, exactly. And that error is probably going to be most prevalent with the track limit. 16 corners, 6 of which are policed by a track limit warning camera, so there is no excuse. There's a double jeopardy at the last corner at 16. If you run wide out there, you lose the lap you're on and the next, be it the momentum you've carried on to the next lap is unfairly gained. So there's going to be a lot of issues for drivers there. I think with the track temp being so high, these cars are able to use tyre ovens. I think we might see a bit of a standoff at the start of the session, and maybe not many cars jumping on the circuit as soon as we go green.
What we didn't have at Brands, but we do have here, are cars in the Bronze Cup. It wasn't that nobody entered at Brands, it was more that there was no space. There weren't enough garages for them, so the Bronze Championship begins here. Wins at Brands Hatch outright went the way of Arthur Leclerc and Thomas Neubauer in race 1, Ricardo Feller and Bastien Bus in race 2. Remember, they were 2/3 of that Spa winning team a few weeks ago, and it is Feller and Bus with a 2-point advantage in the championship as you look at number 48 Mercedes, which is the Lucas Auer and Mauro Engel Mercedes. And you'll also see that on the side of the car, in fact every car, carrying stickers in memory of Mark van der Straten, the VDS of the Mark VDS racing team, who sadly passed away a few weeks ago. And he was a huge supporter of GT3 racing, of course. For a long, long time had his own team rather than being a co-part of the Boutsen VDS squad of late. The Mark VDS team going back to the early days of the Blancpain Endurance Series. He did a lot for Belgian motorsport, a lot for Belgian drivers, a lot for the early days of GT3 racing. A great character, and will be much missed. And all the cars carrying these stickers to remember the late Mark van der Straten. The session getting underway very shortly, and as far as Misano is concerned, well, BMWs have gone pretty well in recent years. One in particular, one with number 46 on the side. It's Valentino Rossi's home circuit. As ever, you don't have to look very far to find lots of his fans, and they'll all be keen to see how he gets on this weekend. But also a man to watch is going to be Danny Hunkedea from the Verstappen racing team. He is with Nina Jade Paul in the pits.
Danny, I know Chris Ullum isn't racing with you this weekend, but how are you feeling ahead of qualifying?
Yeah, I feel good. Car has felt good so far. I don't have Chris with me, unfortunately, this weekend, but I got Jules, who is a guy I know for many years, very competitive. So yeah, I think we got the ingredients to be competitive as well.
An unfortunate end to your race in Spa, but we're back on the Sprint Cup now. What are your hopes for the race weekend?
I'm enjoying Sprint a lot. It's been a lot of years since I last raced Sprint. Brands Hatch was a very competitive weekend as well. Yeah, it's cool racing, you know, it's flat out. Quali very important, you know, I'm not used to that after many years racing endurance, and I love the chills of going into qualifying in Sprint.
Yeah, in Brands you got unlucky because when you crossed the line, you were crossed the line in first, but then the penalties demoted you. Are you expecting to have that similar pace this weekend?
I think Brands was a track that really suits our car very nicely, so we were extremely competitive. I think here is going to be very bunched up. It's also a tricky track with track limits. Will be a lot of laps cancelled in quali. So, yeah, gotta have a clean lap, top 5 hopefully after today, and then in race I'm sure we can fight our way forward.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jules Gounod and Danny Hunkedea, that is going to be a seriously competitive pairing, that is for certain.
Yeah, Danny playing it down, but Jules Gounod was 3rd fastest in FP2, which is normally our best insight into where the pace is coming from. Of course, some teams using a different tyre strategy than others, so it's always hard to read into, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a car that's up there, as this car was at the end of 24 hours the last time we were out in GT World Challenge. This car went rather well.
Did indeed. Winners from the pit lane and winners at Brands Hatch in sprint as well. The early season power steering problems seem now to be a thing of the past. Their number 14 is the Ferrari of Matteo Cairoli and Consul Appolina. We only see this within the Sprint Cup. Matteo Cairoli going to yet another manufacturer for this season, and he'll be a man to watch as well. Now, let's get back to the pit lane and hear from Bastien Bus, Spa winner, Brands Hatch winner. He's with Bryn Lucas.
Spa winner, what a great performance. I haven't caught up with you since then, but first of all, recap on what happened at Spa and how can you take that form into here at Misano?
I think everyone in the team is still running super high from the last victory. Amazing event for us. Everything went exactly how we dreamed of it. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we can keep the momentum into the next weekend. We are leading the sprint championship. So for us, it's all about making a clean weekend, scoring the best points we can, and hopefully extending the lead a bit.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth, really. You're leading the way in the sprint championship. Here, it's the it's the next round. There's not a huge amount of sprint races to go, still early doors, but you want to keep that momentum going. That's key.
Of course, for us, it's about making no mistakes, always, delivering what we can, and in the end, we just have to score enough points. I think the first weekend in Brands Hatch showed how important it is to finish every race. We won race 2 and we retired from race 1, still in the lead though from the pole positions. So if we can get 2 good races, decent results, I guess it will also be good enough that we can maybe pull away a little bit.
Keep the car on the island. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good win at Brands Hatch in that second race for Bastien Bus and for Ricardo Feller. Looking further down the pit lane, there you can see the number 69 Red Bull-backed Mercedes. That's the car that will be hustled along by Thierry Vermeulen and Ben Green. So the Emile Frey squad, again, concentrating on sprint rather than both championships this year, but with good driver lineups. And we are going to have, of course, the qualifying split, again, to give drivers a chance, really, of a bit of clear track space. The races are going to be busy, but when you've only got really 1, maybe 2 proper laps, you want as much space as you can, not stuck in traffic.
Yeah, exactly. It's also the speed delta difference when cars are on out laps or in laps and push laps. That's where it really starts to get tricky. We're so used to seeing at least 20 cars covered by a second, so that's not the traffic. It is just that delta of cars try to jostle for their own position.
In terms of pole positions, both overall poles at Brands went the way of that Lion Speed Porsche of Ricardo Feller in the first session, Bastien Bus in the second. And as far as the other classes were concerned, well, in gold, Dylan Pereira and Alex Arca, Audi a pole each, and in silver, Mathis Lismont and Ignacio Montenegro. They were the drivers that set pole. So familiar cars across the sessions, even if it was being split across the 2 drivers. Dean McDonald there for Garage 59 ready to go. Now, I mentioned the fact that BMW has a good strike rate here. Is there one car that perhaps is more favoured for this circuit, or is actually a lot of that race result down to qualifying?
A bit of both. The interesting one, whereas we look at Garage 59, is Garage 59 and WRT are the only 2 teams on the grid this year that have won here before, which is a crazy stat. So different cars in BMW and McLaren, but they're definitely favourites.
Let's hear from Max Hesse, co-driving with Valentino Rossi with Bryn.
Max, is the pressure on your shoulders? We know that the valet around this place gets pretty good results consistently. He's won every single year for the last 3 years. The home fans for him. It's a bit of pressure for you.
Of course it is, yes. But first of all, today pressure is on him because he has to do the qualifying. So I'm happy, relaxed here. But yeah, tomorrow the page will turn around, of course, for qualifying, but also later today. Vale and Team WT have done great here in the past. It's my first time here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully help them out to win again.
You get a sense of what it's like in Italy with the Italian fans around as well. We've heard that the BMW over the curbs here in particular can suffer a bit of tyre damage because it's cutting the tyre because of the sharp edges. Why is it that that happens with the BMW and not, say, with any other car, like a mid-engine car?
Well, first of all, we didn't have any tire failure so far, so that's already positive. And I think one of our strengths is just to be able to cut a lot on those curbs and the tracks compared to any other brand. That's, I would say, one of our strong points from the car. And like this, we obviously take a bit more risk as well. So maybe that's one of the reasons. But so far, we had no issues. So let's cross the fingers and say like this.
touch wood, good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Max Hesse then, former BMW junior, now factory driver, just like Dan Harper, who is the third man for the endurance round. You look down from the drone hovering over the Get Speed pit. The red and white Mercedes you just went over the top of was quickest in FP1. There's number 991, the Paradigm BMW that Augusto Farfus will take out for the first part of qualifying, today's race session, if you like. You've got the Lamborghini Temerario. There's the Comptu fleet of Aston Martin Vantages going further down the pit lane. 007, which will be Nicky Team first up. Treble 5 for CSA Racing, that's Simon Gachet. Treble 1 McLaren, that'll be James Kell. And then you get to number 163, which is Loris Spinelli, ready to go for VSR. 74, the Kessel Racing Ferrari, Dennis Marshall. And you see the number 69 Ferrari, Thierry Vermeulen. 14 will be Matteo Cairoli, there it is. So it gives you a proper idea of exactly what we've got ready for this session, including a Brands Hatch winner, and that's Arthur Leclerc, who's with Nina Jade.
Arthur, you got your first GT World Challenge race win back in Brands in round 1 of the Sprint Cup Championship. You're currently sitting P2 in the standings. What have you learned from pre-practice that you can bring forward to qualifying?
Let's see, free practice was a bit tricky, especially with the heat. We struggled a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we are working on the car. We did work quite a lot, so hopefully we'll try to sort it out for qualifying.
Are you feeling confident?
Of course.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
There's number 46 then. Valentino Rossi will be the man behind the wheel for this session. And his faithful fans have been queuing near his motorhome since about 7:30 this morning, hoping for a glimpse of the great man or his autograph on something. But now he's in the car and he can concentrate on him, not them. And there are lots and lots and lots of bright yellow fans here. It's not quite like the Lando stand at Silverstone of a couple of weeks ago for the British Grand Prix, but it's like the Valley Circuit because all the way around the area, there's this huge support for Valentino Rossi. Right, cars are on track. The green light is on at the end of the pit lane. It's been on for 2.5 minutes. Nobody is in a hurry, but this is what we saw at Brands Hatch. It's what we've seen elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's an exact trade-off. If you go out early, you're perceived to have good track space because everyone else is in pit lane. As you're on your push lap, everyone else is coming out of pit lane while you're trying to push. So you try and go as late as you can. Problem are, red flags come out. Of course, the clock stops, but maybe the session doesn't get resumed. As we look at the first to blink was this 163 VSR car, the new Lamborghini, getting ever quicker. But still not where it got to. Actually, Rossi in the background there weaving vigorously down pit lane, something that we don't see as we do see from the drone.
Yeah, and he's got to be careful about that because it's a narrow pit lane and those barriers, of course, can catch you out. But now he will accelerate at pit exit. Got to be careful not to cross that white line, but Valle has done enough sports car racing now to know exactly what's what. And he goes up then towards the turn 4-5 sequence. It's 2 right-handers, but you can make 1 loop out of it.
Yeah, you try and V it off, straight in, straight out, and you take the corner out of 2 corners, and that's the name of the game. And there we see the Ferrari 296 of Cairoli leaving pit lane. Interesting penalty for Cairoli in free practice. A judge to have loosened his belts before coming into the pit lane, so €1,000 fine and 1 behaviour warning point for that one.
Yeah, and that's something apparently that's been happening not necessarily from him, but quite a few drivers have been doing it, particularly at Monza, and with the cars having the onboard footage that can be reviewed by the stewards, it is something that both the stewards and the race director Niels Vitic have been quite keen to stamp down on. Niels Vitic was saying to me at Spa, I can't understand why a driver would want to do it on track. Yeah, maybe coming down the pit lane, but on the circuit, really? Anyway, Matteo Cairoli will have got the message, that's for sure, if he's €1,000 lighter. 1 or 2 other missing drivers' briefings. Bastien Bous missed the driver's briefing because there was a drama with his luggage, which is a novel excuse, but it was accepted by the stewards, so he had to attend to that, couldn't be at the briefing. Loris Spinelli then sets the target time in the Temerario.
Car bottomed out massively on the apex curve there. I've not seen that from any other brand this weekend. James Kell, the CSA McLaren, is not going to let him by the looks of it because he's setting his lap up, and this is exactly what we said about you go early, you get compromised, and now Spinelli massively faster, raced against Loris quite a few times, super aggressive, but he is compromised here, and where's this lap time going to put them on the board? It's only going to be a 33.7. I think pole could be in a 31, depending on where the track temp gets to at the moment, ever rising, 52 degrees now.
It is indeed. There, James Kell does eventually get out of the way, just lets the Temerario go by, and more weaving going on. That was Christopher Haase, was it not, in the 84 Audi? In the background there is Dylan Pereira's Audi, and Thomas Neubauer comes towards us with only 4.5 minutes of this first part to go. So what you've got here are the cars from the overall contest, the Pro Cup if you like, and the Gold Cup, and then it will be the silvers and the bronzes for Q1B. Porsche number 80 then, with Riccardo Fella at the wheel of it, championship leader, a previous Sprint Cup champion as well.
Yeah, he's got some mega space here as well. Forward and aft, he's going to take loads of curb at 6-try straight line. You've got to be careful on the exit there for track limits. Then this short run down, you're braking just after the 100-meter board, which is the polystyrene board powered by AWS, and then hard on the brakes, trying to rotate the car using the inside of the curb, which isn't judged for track limits, so you can use as much as you want. And then one of these ever-tightening corners onto the back straight, 9 straight into 10. So again, the driver's trying to make this straight line. Straight line's so important for race cars. They brake better, they accelerate better, and we accelerate out of turn 10 down the back straight. You can hear the gears going through. It's been a mega sector 1 so far, faster than anyone. We're flat out through 11, and then it's trying to pick your braking point at 12. Cars like to go over this curb on the inside and then get on the brake hard as you can. Rotate the car in. There's still another right to go, and you're dancing brake to throttle, brake to throttle. It's a very unusual technique, but it's the only way to really navigate that mid part of sector 3. 2 corners to go. 15 is easy flat in a GT3, and then 16 you have to be careful of track limits, entry and exit. And remember, if you do it on exit here, you lose the next lap, and he was quite conservative. That to me would say Fella knew this was going to be a good lap. He's going to cross the beam, and it's the 32.8, second at the moment.
So at the moment it's Valentino Rossi the fastest. He's done a 1:32.789. You look there at number 51 Ferrari, Tommaso Mosca at the wheel, who was certainly quick at Spa. Mosca then has done an absolute best within the first sector as the car now works its way up around the turn 9 and 10 elements, the Curva Tramonto, and then the speed builds all the way down this back part of the circuit as now Charles Wirtz goes to the top, BMW number 32. So almost every car that comes across the line changes the order somewhat. Mosca is dropping down the times as a legacy of all of this. So it is BMW from Audi, would you believe. Dylan Pereira, fastest in gold, is second. Valentino Rossi is third. Riccardo Fella is fourth. And that changes because Danny Huncadea has now gone fourth.
Just looking at the sectors, Rossi loses nearly 4 tenths in sector 1 alone. He's only a 10th off pole. If he can sort out sector 1, that 46 car could come back up there. Mosca's going to be there. There is Rossi going to cross the beam. Has he sorted sector 1 out? He stays third at the moment. Where's Mosca going to go? 8th at the moment. He's going to go up all the way to first.
Indeed so. Fastest of all, Tommaso Mosca then. Really, really good lap that. 1:32.583. But we're not done yet because this is the hard-charging Porsche in the hands of Riccardo Fella. He's done an absolute best within the first sector. He's done a personal best in the second. He's chasing the Charles Wirtz lap as well, which is the other way round. Personal best and an absolute best. So this is 1 corner to go. Fella out of 16, back on the power, rides the curb a little bit, powers his way up towards the timing line, and Riccardo Fella breaks the beam and goes onto pole position. He does a 1:32.295, but Charles Wirtz looks to try to answer that. He's down to third. He breaks the beam now, and Charles Wirtz is second fastest.
As we go now to Lucas Auer, he's in the final corner as well. All of these cars starting their final lap already, so they've only got one more shot of it. Auer wants to get up from the 4th row, crosses the beam, goes second. Juncadea fastest out of anyone in sector 2 as well. The times are coming in thick and fast from all brands as well.
They are indeed, as Danny Huncadea presses on now. This could be pole, couldn't it? Personal best, absolute best. Danny Huncadea comes out of 16, but he's wide, and that's marginal. I reckon he's just lost 2 laps out of that because he was just the wrong side of the white line. Huncadea goes third, but we don't so much look at that line of the timing screen, but the message line to see whether there's anything about car 3 losing a lap for track limits. Dean McDonald has just gone up to 10th, as you can see. And although Danny Huncadea is shown as being third fastest, that might not stand.
Yeah, Rossi back to pole, purple sector 3. That is a lap and a half from Rossi at the moment, nearly a 10th and a half clear. You can see the team, Max Hesser, his teammate, very happy with that lap.
We've lost a lap for number 7, then the Aston Martin. That is Nicky Thiem's lap gone, and others are being warned. Charles Wirtz, in the meanwhile, is pressing on. That is a happy Valentino Rossi going a little bit wide at the Curva del Rio, but Charles Wirtz here, number 32, could be on to get himself back up the order. He slipped to the 3rd row of the grid. He's using huge amounts in Italy, isn't he, on this lap? He's way up the curb, coming up towards the line. Still, there's nothing about that Huncadea lap being taken away. So up to the timing line to take the checkered flag comes Charles Wirtz. He breaks the beam, 3rd fastest, back to the 2nd row of the grid.
Yeah, I think the tyre had gone, and that's the slide we saw coming out of 14. You see the cars going the straightest line possible to take the checkered, not to add any distance. Dean McDonald a bit further down the order in 10th at the moment. We would expect this lap could be good enough to get him somewhere inside the top 6 if Sector 3 is strong.
This is the view as he comes then now up towards the hairpin at 14. Slow, tight right-hander, and accelerates his way towards the line. And again, Hunkadea goes really wide at 16, but that previous effort to do that wasn't removed, and that lap, well, he's 5th fastest. It was fractionally slower, but Danny Hunkadea has had a charmed life at 16.
Yeah, he knows the limit and seems to be happy to push on. McDonald breaks the beam, stays 10th. Really average Sector 3, half a second lost on his own best there, so that's where a potential top 6 evaporated to. Wow, that was thick and fast. It was almost hard to call at times, wasn't it? Fella really put his yardstick out early and did a great job.
Right, Danny Hunkadea has lost a lap, but that was the last lap, so the one before it that we saw, and both of us thought he'll lose, he kept. That stood. But in the end, 5th fastest. So, Valentino Rossi has done it. He has taken pole position, and although that's not the first time the car will start on pole position, that is the first time Vale has set the time to do it himself. That is his first career GT3 pole position.
Yeah, and it was a mega Sector 3, wasn't it, that really did it. And he did it a lap earlier than it seemed like Wirtz was ready to do it. And Wirtz, I think, by that point, had lost his tyre. BMW looking strong across all 3 sectors. Really only Sector 1 they seem to struggle in. But Sector 2 and 3, they are very strong here at Misano.
So well done, Valentino Rossi. And that's, again, that, if you like, coming of age as a GT driver. It's all very well taking somebody else's pole time and solidifying that for the race win, but to do a pole position yourself, and in this company, I mean, look at the names he's out-qualified. Fella, Wirtz, Au, Hunkadea, Pereira, Mosca, Vermeulen, Haase, McDonald. That's only your top 10. That's quite a lap.
Yeah, it's the who's who of GT racing, isn't it? GT World Challenge, the most competitive GT championship in the world, and he has shown how quick he is. And I think by his own admission, he didn't have a great Spa 24. He had to really lean on Harper and Hesse, didn't he, to keep the 46 competitive. But he was in the mix. But today, he has woken up fast, and he has put a seriously good yardstick time down. Remember, this is only halfway through qualifying. It should be our fastest half, but we do not know that as a fact.
So Valentino Rossi it is, who is the fastest from Ricardo Fella and Charles Wirtz third. Lucas Au taking 4th ahead of Danny Hunkadea, and then Dylan Pereira next. Tommaso Mosca behind in the times. Then it is Thierry Vermeulen with Christopher Haase and Dean McDonald rounding out the top 10. Amrit Cordial 11th from Thomas Neubauer and then Simon Gachet. Luca Engschler 14th from Tom Fleming, long way back, ahead of Gilles Magnus. Then James Kell, Maurice Schuring, Nicky Team and Loris Spinelli to round out the top 20. Dylan Pereira, your gold pole winner, and that's his 2nd gold pole of the season. First time in sprint, anything other than a Lion Speed Porsche has been at the very front, and no lap time for Matteo Cairoli. The car did go out, so I'm assuming that was purely a victim of repeated track limit offences.
Yeah, I have to say I missed that one. We didn't see a problem for it, so that makes it tough. They're last at the moment, and we've still got more than half the field to come out, so race 1 for them might be a technical write-off. But how many times have we said that?
Yes.
Spa 24, winners starting from pit lane.
Indeed so. Valentino Rossi then takes pole position in sprints. And I would suspect also, but I might need to whisper this given where we are in the world, that he's the oldest driver to take an outright sprint cup pole as well, because increasingly, of course, GT racing is for the young guns. And I'm not saying that Vale is an old chap, far from it, but he's probably the oldest driver to have taken a sprint cup pole position, which is something he might be able to reflect on when we hear from him in the pit lane. So the margin between them, 0.141 of a second. And in that part of the session, we had 22 cars. 21 did a time, and 15 were covered by less than a second.
That's incredible, isn't it? So we're probably on for at least 25 covered by seconds. We're down at the 46. You can see Rossi just to the top of shot. He's having a bit of a debrief as he's potentially going to claim our Rover Pole Award, of course.
Yeah, I think the rest are going to have to go some to topple that, as you see in super slow-mo, Valentino Rossi using all of the room available to him, setting the car up for turn 16.
Yeah, it's beautiful, this slow-mo into 16. This is the curve that they really like to use, the BMW, and they seem to get away with it more than others. That more sort of touring car chassis and body takes those yellow policemen. You can see the suspension working overtime. And this was the track limit. As long as there's one part of a tyre touching the white line on the exit here on your right, you're fine. And Rossi was safe by a good 25 centimetres there. So mega lap as he was watching that himself. What a character to have here.
but that means something to a driver. Race wins, yes, but like I say, to do a pole position lap, that's not down to any co-driver. That is down to him and his ability and his right foot and an element of traffic management, yes, but not making mistakes. And a lot of applause for that, and deservedly so. That's a big deal as the already lights are on green to get the second half of Q1 underway. This is for the silvers and for the bronzes, as Valentino Rossi will wait for 10 minutes and then we can crown him pole winner. And there'll be cameras and reporters in the long queues, I suspect, ready to talk to the man himself.
It's probably the only time he gets a bit of time to himself at a race weekend like this, and he's parked away from his team because he's probably going to be our Rover Pole Award. WRT, we're looking at here at the other end of the pit lane, so it's taken them some time to get there, but gives Valentino, quite rightly, the time to bask in his greatness.
You can tell how hot it is. Vincent Voss, for the first time in living memory, without his trademark flat cap. So he's pretty happy with all of that. He, of course, welcomed Valentino Rossi to the fold when they were running Audis, and Valet has... We say it every year, come on and come on and come on, and he's a very, very serious GT racer these days, and winning at Misano definitely means something to him here on home soil. He's had 2 wins here in the past, and very proud of that BMW badge as well. So, Valentino Rossi is our provisional Rover Pole Position Award winner. Maria Giovanna Piva, the team's relations manager, will be with him at the end of the session. But first up, let's just listen to some radio chatter from the in-lap.
So we are on pole position, mate. Big congratulations. Pole position.
So we are P1, really? Great.
That's about the most laid-back Valentino Rossi has ever sounded, and it's one of the most significant moments of his career.
Yeah, maybe he thought he'd lost his opportunity doing the time so late on. Maybe he thought the tyre had dropped too much, but maybe when he reviews that back on the data and video later, he'll probably realise what a lap that was to get it right to the top end.
Now, maybe he's also thinking, yeah, but hang on, I've got half the grid still to go, because the driver that was quickest in free practice 1 yesterday, Fabian Schiller, is in this group. Ricardo Parra is in this group as well, and they're very quick Porsche drivers. So, yeah, it's not an absolute guarantee. It is more than likely he will stay pole, but it's not guaranteed, as Q1B is already underway with 7 minutes still on the clock here. So we'll start to put these times together in the relation of the overall order. There, going down the pit lane is Mikey Porter in the Optimum number 5 McLaren. Dennis Marshall in number 74 Ferrari, another driver to keep an eye on as well. Alex Frassinetti in the Audi number 66, I think we caught a glimpse of. So gradually the circuit getting busier and busier and busier.
Yeah, I'd say Marshall and Schiller are the two. Whoa, contact with Marshall there with an AF course Ferrari. That's going to be a red flag. I can't see him getting out of that. Outlap for Marshall. I assume a flying lap for the AF course. Is that Mikhail's red flag? It is.
Yeah, I think they just came out in unison. So let's have another look. Oh no, maybe that Ferrari was on a flying lap and just completely barges into the side.
It's such a bizarre... So, yeah, the AF course is on track and has got momentum. So this is on Marshall purely because he's on an outlap. They both turn into each other at the same time. Marshall cannot be aware of the AF course Ferrari, which surprises me. He has popped it into reverse and got out the gravel trap. These GT3 cars have learnt this move. We saw it at Spa, where they're able to get out, and he's going to get going. But is there going to be damage on that? Race control are going to look at. For me, it's 100% on the 74 car. You're on your outlap. The onus is on you to get out of the way. Yes, the AF course car had a trajectory towards the 74, but so did the 74. It's the most bizarre incident I've seen live on TV.
Another look might show us that the AF Corsa Ferrari tried to take the line for the corner, but did so with a car alongside, and he knew that because he just pulled up alongside it. So each will argue that they are innocent and it was the other one's fault, but that's going to be an interesting one for the stewards to look at, because I was leaning more towards the red Ferrari being at fault.
At least we never agree. That's the consistent factor with our viewership. I just think when you're on your outlap, you've got no reason to be there. I think this guy, Mikhails, has just thought, he's going to back out. He's going to give me the line. He's going to do the right thing. Look at the damage on the door.
Well, it's under investigation, but there's no real surprise in that. Dennis Marshall did a good job of getting it out of the gravel, at least, but that's a car with damage on the driver's side, and Dennis Marshall's Ferrari limps back to the pits. We'll have another look, no doubt, but that Ferrari, having been through the gravel, trying to shake the stones out offline. I mean, Dennis Marshall doesn't often make mistakes like that.
No, and you don't make mistakes on purpose. Doesn't matter how good you are. For I just said I've quite fancied him to be at the top of this group and maybe a chance to get past Rossi. He's really trying to get the gravel out, isn't he? He will be feeling as well as any suspension damage on the car as well. So we get another look here. So it's all okay-ish. And then they both, I mean, that one makes it look even worse for Dennis Marshall for me. The overhead drone shot, I thought the AF course car was coming more over to this blue 74, but there it's nailed on for me, and it'll be an interesting penalty that's applied. Calls the red flag, going to lose the fastest lap of the session as well that is yet to be done. This is going to be a difficult mountain to climb for Kessel on the 74.
We also presuppose the car's going to be allowed back, because that isn't always a given as well.
He's doing well over 80k as well. So when you think it can't get worse, that's the great thing with motorsport. It always gets worse. I was expecting that crane to collapse on top of him as well. And then there's your cherry on the cake. There probably is a cherry on the cake, because those guys on top of the crane are dining. What an experience to do.
So there's going to be the possible penalty for causing a collision. There's the possible penalty of not getting a lap in because he may not be allowed back out. Then the speed needs to be addressed. Then the stewards need to have a look at the incident. There's also any damage that will be looked at as well.
Interesting, yeah, if it's just sent this car straight down pit lane, they don't want to look at it. They're saying that's okay, but look at the damage. All of that carbon fibre beautifully prepared by Orica on behalf of Ferrari, who make this 296 GT3 Evo, and Kessel have decided to box their car. They all want to more investigate any potential damage, and do they weigh up whether it's worth going back out with the penalty looming?
So the session is going to be resumed in just under 2 minutes' time. Valentino Rossi still nervously waiting to see if it is going to be his first ever outright pole. Marvin Dienst getting ready to go, but without Dennis Marshall, who else might be able to go to the very top? There aren't that many takers other than Fabian Schiller.
No, the obvious statement here as well that helps Rossi massively. All of these cars left on brand new tyres. The tyres are at their best when they leave. They've all done either an out lap or a part of a push lap. So these tyres are, I think, already dropped half a second. That's gone forever, never to be seen again. Goodbye. The only one I think is potentially Farfus, who managed to really back out of it early, but now they're going for a heat cycle. I think the marshals, not Dennis, the actual circuit marshals, are having to sweep the circuit now. So this is what the delay is. And yeah, interestingly, Dienst in the 87 got stuck in no man's land. He's kind of at the official pit exit, even though the red lights are halfway down the pit lane here at Misano.
Let's listen to Dennis Marshall's radio traffic here.
To me, we just have a quick check. If everything is good to go, we're going to qualify like this. I know not optimal, but let's see what's happening. Keep it cool, mate.
So no real time to do many repairs to the car. Just get it back out and get a time in if they can. It's now been corrected on our timing screen that it's between number 71 Ferrari, Felix Hersinger's car, rather than Jeff Machiel's.
Good neighbours of VSR there. It's actually the mechanics cleaning up the Kessel gravel, but great from the engineer there to really just try and get Marshall's head back in the game.
Let's get back to the pit lane and hear from Charles Weird. He's in the company of Bryn Lucas.
Provisional P3, it's a good starting point for you. When you look at your season so far, you know, you've had a podium so far, but you really need to kick on for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I would be lying if I would say I'm happy with P3. I think we have a competitive car this weekend, therefore, yeah. Would have been nice to be on pole. It's been a long time. I can only blame myself. I made a small mistake in the last sector, which I think cost a better result, but nevertheless, that's how it is. Vali did a great job, so really happy for him. But yeah, I mean, P3 so far, let's see how the others will improve, because we know that the track will just improve and improve, so let's see where this will end up, but yeah, hopefully we can score good points in the race.
Looking at what Vale's done, looking at data sharing and things like that, have you found areas that you can find that extra time when it comes to the race later on? Different conditions later, obviously.
Yeah, they're for sure very different. I guess that's until now he was probably a bit off. He was always really quick, but today he was qualifying. I was a bit off, so I will be the one looking a bit at the data to understand. But yeah, I mean, anyway, he did a great job, so I'm really happy for him, and I think it's a great result for the team also.
Second row's not a bad starting position. Good luck.
Cheers.
Now, the red flag came at exactly the wrong time for everybody, in as much as Joe said, they'd taken some life out of the tyres, but not recorded a lap. And so now we go again. So we've got effectively a 5-minute session. Nobody has a lap time, and there's only just over 5 minutes on the clock. So really, it's one push and no mistake.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to see where a silver car or a bronze car of a pro in right now is going to get up to. I think the best we're going to see is maybe a top 15 for this group. It's a bold statement, I appreciate right now, but I think this is how much on the back foot this group is. And Dennis Marshall is going to get some interesting looks as he walks up and down the pit lane, not just from Jeff McKeels, but all of these drivers that have been compromised potentially from the incident that he caused.
Well, there's Marvin Dienst, and that's Valentino Rossi, thinking maybe Osborne's right here. He might be on. So he's looking at the giant screen, watching the times, and anything that is slower than a 1:32.154 is good news for that first pole position that he will have had, of course, whether it's as a solo driver in sprint or the time that he has done, of course, for an endurance pole. But there, these days, with the combined average, makes it also dependent on your co-drivers, but to do it in sprint on your own, quite something, as we were saying. Marvin Dienst then sets the benchmark in Sector 1, quicker than Augusto Farfus in the Winward Racing run Mercedes AMG. And the clock's already at under 4 minutes, so lose a lap here for track limit offences, and that's probably your session done, isn't it?
Yeah, especially if you do it at 16 with that compromise of the next lap. But at least Marvin Dienst has got plenty of space here. The Merc always so well poised through these high-speed aero corners. And this is the corner that just keeps tightening. As you start to lose that aero grip, you rely more on the mechanical grip, so the balance of the car can shift even though you're in the corner. No track limits on the exit there, so look away. It wasn't illegal. Only illegal if you get caught. You've got track limits here and on the exit of 16.
So Marvin Dienst up towards the timing line, and he will break the beam to offer up the target, but as he goes through, it is a 32.939, so that will put him 11th. And you were predicting 15th, 16th. Yes. So again, you're absolutely spot off.
Yeah, and time's coming in. Farfus there goes up to 12th as well, so these guys are having to hustle on hard. They were the two cars that hadn't done as many laps and mileage on their tyres, so they could have that advantage, of course.
So the rest will be about 15th and 16th, apart from those two that aren't. Yeah, right. 66 then, the Audi here in the hands of Alessandro Frasinetti. Another quick driver out of the Silver Cup for Archinarca's Attempto team. Frasinetti, the Italian GT Sprint champion last year. This looks good with an absolute best in the middle, and Frasinetti breaks the beam. A 1:32.804 puts him fastest within silver and 8th overall.
Really good lap. I think Farfus has lost his lap. He's dropped right off the board as we look at the 21 Comtu of Dorison. He's going to cross the beam. It's been a pretty strong lap so far for this car, and he goes only 25th, so it's a weak Sector 3 as the Optimum McLaren here is coming onto the back straight now. This car had quite a strong run at Spa, but a few incidences cost it ultimately in the end.
Yeah, it should be Guillermo Oliveira at the wheel of it. And 71, which is Felix Hersiger's car that was involved with Dennis Marshall. That's had a lap time taken off it for track limit offences. Here is Marvin Dienst, former German F4 champion. And Dienst breaks the beam now to do a 32.489. And that's going to put him 6th overall. That's bronze pole and 6th overall.
Only 3/10 off Valentino's lap. What could have been if we hadn't had that red flag? He was sat in pit lane for over 5 minutes, bleeding track and tyre temp.
I still think the one to watch, though, is going to be Fabian Schiller, because he was quickest in FP1, number 12 Mercedes. It's the red and white car. Guillermo Oliveira up to 4th in the class as he goes through. That's 4th in gold. But Fabian Schiller, number 12, could be a man to watch to see in terms of sectors what he can do, and he's done an absolute best. There he is. So this could be the car that ruins Valentino Rossi's dream of being on pole position. Fabian Schiller then comes now down towards turn 13, the kink, and then the road tightens all the way up through 14 in a moment. So let's see what this lap is looking like, because Fabian Schiller, fastest yesterday in FP1 has done an absolute best in the first sector. He's done a personal best in the second. The time he's got to beat is a 1:32.154. He comes out of 16. Fabian Schiller now heading up towards the line. Is this going to be bronze pole or outright pole? He goes across the line now, and he's going to be not quite quick enough to even get ahead of Rossi, but it is bronze pole, a 32.440, 6th overall. Frasinetti up to second, 99 thousandths shy of Rossi, and that silver pole for Frasinetti. Rossi's getting ever more nervous, but there's only 10 more seconds before the flag comes out, but there are plenty to finish a lap.
Yeah, that Audi has kind of come out of nowhere in this session. It's been quick, isn't it? It was quick in free practice too. As we look at Dennis Marshall, car looking okay. It's an okay sector 1 as well, and he's going to want to try and get something on the board. 6th at the moment in class.
Yeah, but those Audis, don't forget, were good in the sessions at Spa. We lost 66 on the first racing lap of the 24 hours itself, but also Audi won endurance at Monza, and Valentino Rossi now being filmed, watching the film as Dennis Marshall presses on here. So who else is doing purples in sectors? Nobody that I can see at the minute as the flag is out. Marshall with a big snap of oversteer midway between 13 and 14, but a tough session this for Dennis. 15th overall and 3rd in bronze. Kian Jewis up to 11th, 2nd in bronze in the 2Cs Mercedes. Kian, somebody that really flies under the radar, to use the dread phrase, because he's a lot better than people give him credit for. Last year's British GT champion, and making people in Europe sit up and take notice. So the cars come through, take the checkered flag, but it's still 46 atop the times. Here is Fabian Schiller wide coming out of the last corner. Jewis has done an absolute best in the middle. Across the line goes Fabian Schiller.
He's going to lose that lap. He's up to 4th, but he was miles off 16, so expect him to drop back down.
And what about Jewis? Down in sector 1, good in sector 2. He goes through, and that puts him up to 3rd in class, 2nd in class now, in fact, and 7th overall as things shuffle around with penalties. So, Valet, I think you're there, but by 99 thousandths of a second. Everyone's taking the flag. That is it. So breathe a sigh of relief. Valentino Rossi, his first pole position in GT World Challenge. He's watching the stream, which is slightly delayed, so he does not yet know what we do, which is that everybody has taken the flag and has come into the pit lane, and that will have done. Valet, we'll see the reaction in a few seconds' time when he knows everybody's there. Is that it? Has everybody taken the flag? They have. You've done it. Well done, Valet. Confirmed, somebody shouts. Well done. He's done it. Pole position there for Valentino Rossi. A great effort. His first pole position in GT World Challenge by 99 thousandths of a second. And for the first race of the 2 this evening, the top 25 cars are covered by less than a second.
Incredible, isn't it? It's going to lead to a mega race. 10 different brands as well. Mercedes are up there more than I thought potentially. But it's a BMW, from an Audi, from a Porsche, from another BMW, then a fleet of Mercedes, 4 in a row. And we have the Ferrari in the top 10 as well.
What a session, and what a lap by Valentino. I'm sure he'll talk us through it in a few moments' time. But that's quite something, as we were saying after Q1A, to do a pole position lap and to do it in this exalted company. He'll take that timesheet and pin it to the wall, I think, to just show people the names that he was ahead of. And some other good efforts. I mean, Frasinetti to be 2nd and Marvin Dienst to be 8th and Kian Jewis to be 11th. You know, they're ahead of the Vermeulens, the Hausers, the Leasemonts, the McDonalds, the Neubaus, the Gachets, the Enchlers, the Flemings of this world. You know, some big names behind them.
Yeah, the pro session just didn't seem to get going, did it? And the track should have only got worse with the track temp. Maybe some rubber being laid down has helped negate that difference in potential time for the pro class. But yeah, I have to say that was an interesting session.
You have to go back to 2009 to find Valentino Rossi on merit, not a co-driver's time, being on pole position at Misano. And that was on a motorbike. That was for MotoGP. So 2009 on a bike, 2026 in a BMW. Nina Jade Paul is in the pit lane with a history-making pole position driver, Valentino Rossi.
Vale, huge congratulations. You won here in 2023, 2024, 2025, and now your first solo pole position. What is it about Misano that brings out the best in you?
Grazie, thanks a lot. I'm very, very happy. It's the first pole position for me in the GT World Challenge, and you know, Misano is always magic. We were able to win in the last 3 years, but we were, never start from the pole, and also from me. So it was a very good lap. I think that we work very hard during the weekend. We try to put the pressure in a good way on the track, and the team and the car work very well. So we will start from P1. It's very, very important in the sprint, and we wait for the race start of this evening.
Well, your last pole position here at Misano was in 2009 for MotoGP. So you're on pole again. Another victory this evening would mean a 4th consecutive win. What would that mean to you in Vale in front of all your friends, fans and family?
It's great. It's great. I'm very happy to race in Misano always, and have a lot of people. So thanks for the support. It's a great pleasure to see this atmosphere around, and we will try to give the maximum in the race.
Congratulations, and I'm pleased to present the Rover Pole Position Award.
So well done, Valentino Rossi then. His first pole position in a GT3 car, and a very happy man indeed. Valentino Rossi then celebrates pole position for today's race here at Misano, and it is going to be quite a spectacle as well, because it will take us under the floodlights towards darkness, and Valentino Rossi will start from pole position. We'll be on air from around about 8 o'clock with a build-up to our 1-hour race, and is it going to be another win, a third here at Misano for Valentino Rossi? Well, we'll find out a little bit later on in what promises to be a really, really good competitive race, that is for sure. So Valentino Rossi is the man of the moment, but there's an awful lot still to digest from that, and some very good efforts as well by other drivers. Still think a hat tip goes to Alex Frasinetti for that silver pole, and to be second, well, it's quite a drive. Valentino Rossi and Alex Frasinetti will be row 1 provisionally from Ricardo Feller and Charles Weert. Lucas Auer 5th ahead of Fabian Schiller, then Danny Honcadea. Marvin Dienst in the end second in bronze behind Fabian Schiller. 9th, Dylan Pereira topping gold from Tommaso Mosca. Good effort by Kian Dewis, 11th from Jamie Day. Dennis Marshall recovered well, didn't he, from that contact to be 13th from Thierry Vermeulen and Christopher Hauser. Mathis Lismont next from Anthony Barteau with Dean McDonald, Anne-Marie Cordial and Thomas Neubauer rounding out the top 20. Outside of that top 20, we had the remainder of the field, including, of course, those class battles. Simon Gachet ahead of Luca Angschler. Just to pick out 1 or 2 more, Jeff Mackill's 26th, Augusto Farfus 29th, and suffering with track limit penalties, 40th at the bottom, Guillaume Oliveira. So there, Valentino Rossi celebrates, and let's have a look at exactly how he did it. Let's go on board for a lap, a pole lap of Misano. Valentino Rossi behind the wheel. Your guide is Joe Osborne.
So into turn 1, this is where the BMW historically so strong. We sweep over to the left, we actually open the track up more. It's a short break, and we've got to get over these yellow curbs to short the circuit as much as we can. And then it's patience on the throttle, because you need to be flat all the way through 3, as much of the curb as you can. Then you pick your braking spot as late as you can. Where the grass starts on the left is a great reference, and this is where we make the corner into a V. We go in deep, we rotate the car, and now full gas. We're trying to be flat through turn 6. As much curb as you dare, it can throw the car up into the air and unsettle it. The BMW looked very poised there. Now we're going to brake as late as we dare. The 100-meter board is a great reference, which is now. Hard on the brakes, trail the brake into the corner, rotate the car, full throttle straight away on exit, and now we have to drag the car over to the left. We brake just before the start of the curb on the right, and we aim at the tallest tree in the distance. That creates a straight line for us. We hook up the apex curb. That curb gives us so much grip, we're able to get back to throttle, and this is really the only chance to relax here at Misano as we go down the back straight, firing into turn 11. Speed rising, 240, 250k, 260 flat through 11, and then we have to pick our braking point. And for the next 250 meters, we're just ever decreasing the speed. And you can see here Rossi playing with the car, the line, the throttle, the brake, and he gets it perfectly to the apex of 14. Slowest corner of the lap, down to 60k, and now back on the throttle. We're only going to brake once more, and it's the final corner, the double jeopardy track limit corner, and this is where we saw Rossi so strong. Sector 3, he was fast out of everyone, and that is why he got a pole position lap. What a lap from the doctor aboard the 46 WRT BMW.
Medicine delivered from the doctor. Pole position is on that prescription. Well done. Valentino Rossi celebrates, and that is perhaps one of his now most coveted trophies. A pole position trophy, a pole position lap. An excellent job done. So join us later on. We'll be on air at 8 o'clock local time for the first race of the weekend in GT World Challenge Europe. Can Valentino Rossi be a race winner? Well, join us and you'll find out.